Hi there, my name's Catherine and this is my channel, So Much Sewing. Thank you very much for coming back to be with me here today. If you are in fact a returning viewer, if you are new here, welcome. I hope you all like what you see. Actually, you might not like what you see. This is just a very chatty video. There's virtually no sewing in it. The only sewing in it is what I'm wearing at the moment. It's more of a chatty catch-up. It's Sunday night here. I think I'm going to make this video a Friday sews, but it is Sunday. Well, it's about 5:20 in the evening here, and I've just got a few minutes while my husband goes to pick up my father-in-law from the airport. He's going to be staying with us for about a month. I'm not sure how much time I'm going to have for sewing and videoing over that month. I imagine I will be able to get some sewing done, but probably not as much as I normally would do. My husband works shift work, and so that means during the evenings when he's doing evening work, I'll often do some sewing or do some videos then, so I probably won't be able to do that while Phil is staying with us, which is completely fine and good. But just letting you know where we are at with that at the moment. So what I'm wearing is actually a Vogue, what is that, V1097. It's been a while since I made a big four pattern, I think. I'm normally a bit sort of worried about making a big four. They don't seemingly fit very well, but I mean, I'm supposed to alter them and make them fit, aren't I? That's what I'm supposed to be doing. So, but I saw this, it's a new release this year, and I saw this on someone's vlog. Might have been So Essential ran through these. I just can't recall off the top of my head, and I just absolutely fell in love with it. I love anything with an empire waist like that. Oh, you can see it better there. I love an empire waist. I like that cowl neck. And of course, we're all about the puff sleeves at the moment, aren't we? So I just thought I had to have that. And I looked for it here in New Zealand because it was released, you know, maybe a couple of months ago. And I had looked in New Zealand for it at the time it was released, and we didn't have it, and we didn't have it. But finally, we've got it. So I got it from a company called Postie. I'll link them down below for New Zealand viewers. You probably know about them, but she's fantastic. She's got all the big four, and she has started getting in Style Arc Patterns, and so yeah, she's a really good resource for getting patterns here in New Zealand. So I sewed this up in a toile. I made it with the puff sleeve. I'll show it to you at a later time. But I decided that the puff sleeve wasn't for me. I made the cowl neck, which I do love, absolutely love a cowl neck. So I think for a winter make, I will make this with the cowl neck and just a straight sleeve. I actually this is my second version. I haven't finished it yet. The sleeves are all unfinished and the hem's all unfinished. But so I just nicked the sleeve from the Laundry Day tee from Love Notions, actually. I nicked that sleeve and I found that it fitted quite nicely, so brilliant. So, and then I just made a neckband. It's the first time I'd actually drafted a neckband myself. I used 75% of the stretch of, what am I trying to say? I made a band that was 75% of the size of the neck hole, and I think that was not quite enough. I've had to do quite a lot of stretching to get it in, and a lot of pressing. I have pressed this like the dickens to get that to sit flat. So it worked. I'm okay with it, but next time I'll probably do 80% in this fabric, and I do have more of this fabric, and I think I would like to make another one. It's a slightly different color, but yeah, so I'm pretty happy with this. I'll see if I can pan down so that you can see the empire line on me. There, so there it is. I think the fit is pretty great. If I was making it in a thicker fabric, I might want to go up a size maybe. But I've really taken on board what everyone has said about how I've been making items too large for me. So I didn't want to make this too large. I made a size 20 and graded it out to a 22 at the hip line. This is another reason for not wanting to make big 4 patterns is, you know, I've lost 100 pounds or 48 kilos and I'm still making a, excuse my French, I'm going to bleep this word out, a size 20 in big 4. You know, I've got 107 centimetre bust and they've put me at a size 20. Anyway, there you go. That's my little angry gripe about big 4 patterns. So I made a size 20 in the chest area and a 22 at the hip. So like I say, if I was making a thicker fabric into this pattern, I might want to go a size up. It's quite firm fitting, and I did actually lower this empire line by 5 centimeters in this version. I made it as per the pattern in my previous version, and I lowered it by 5 centimeters in this version. And on the skirt piece, so I made this longer, and the skirt piece I just shortened it by about the same, a little bit more, 7 centimeters. And so I think I would just lower this just a little bit more. I think it's still just a little bit high under my bust, but that's neither here nor there. So the other things I wanted to talk to you about in this video, this potentially Friday Sews video, it's actually, Friday Sews is fantastic because it's, you know, a bunch of YouTubers who get together on a Friday and post under the hashtag Friday Sews. And what that means, it's just a really easy resource for you to punch in hashtag Friday Sews into YouTube and then just find a whole bunch of new YouTubers who you might not have seen before, all talking about sewing. But one of the good things about Friday Sews is it's a little bit of sewing, it's a little bit of life, and so that's what this is today. Teeny bit of sewing and a little bit of life. So I hope you'll give me license to do that, especially Jen from Today in Jen's Sewing Room, who started this hashtag. So I hope you don't mind, Jen. I'm probably stretching that to the extreme today because that's the extent of the sewing. Although what I am going to talk about next does relate to sewing, it's just not actual sewing. I've got my notes here written on a little post-it note. You've heard of notes on a postcard. This is notes on a post-it note. So the first thing I wanted to say was, after my most recent video that went online, which was my actually no, it wasn't my autumn winter plans, my autumn winter wardrobe plans. It was the video before that where I had made the 2 Knix blouses. I made the first one in that gorgeous fabric from the Dahlia Society, the peacock fabric, and then I made the second version in the white base sort of crinkly viscose with the blue pattern on it. What was really interesting to me was that, I mean, we all know fabric choice makes a huge difference to the items that we make and how they turn out. But that was just actually really interesting to me because when I made the peacock, the first one in the peacock fabric, I felt like the shoulders were a little big. Not much for drama. It was a bit loose through the body, but that was probably my fault because I graded out from a 14 to a 16 at the hips, so I can just take that in. That's no problem. But the Drapier white background fabric was just so much more huge on the shoulders. I had done nothing different, but just the properties of the fabric made it that much larger on the shoulders. And of course I made it longer so it appeared larger all over, but I wanted a tunic length to cover my bottom, just a nice relaxed easy drapey summer item, and that's what I got. A little bit big on the shoulders, but that's what I got. But so yeah, I just thought it was really interesting, and that really illustrated the difference that a fabric can make when you make a pattern. But where I was going with that is I just got so many beautiful comments from my viewers, and I want to thank you so very much. You were all so supportive and so genuine and heartfelt. No one bagged me, but you know, the majority of the comments were saying, you know, basically, love, I think you're making things that are too big for you. I think you're making a size too large. And I just really appreciated that. I had sort of been thinking that for a while. I've had a few comments like that in the past, but it just really brought it home to me and really cemented the fact that yes, I am making clothes that are too large for me. I can, but it's hard for me to change my mindset. You know, I got back into sewing before I had started losing weight, before I had my weight loss surgery. And so at that time I was making clothes of a size that I would purchase my clothes in, and that is a bit too large, so it would hide my lumps and bumps, you know, it would just skim over. Look, they were probably too big for me, but to my mind that was better than having things that were too tight, showing off all those lumpy bits. For me, I wasn't comfortable with that. I know a lot of people are very, very body confident, even if they are larger, very, very body confident. And that's something new, you know, that's only developed in our culture, or in our cultures, I should say multiple cultures, because we all know that YouTube is a multicultural global community. It's a new phenomenon. It's really only come about in the last sort of 20 years that overweight people can feel confident in their bodies, and feel beautiful and sexy and be perfectly okay with showing off little bits of skin and lumps and bumps. I'm an older generation. I'm about to turn 56 tomorrow, in fact. I'm an older generation, and that was not, you know, that was not in my wheelhouse. That just was not a reality for me at any stage. Were you allowed to feel confident, sexy as an overweight person? So I'm trying very hard to sort of try and break my thought processes and understand that A, I'm not that size anymore, and B, even if I was, who gives? I can wear whatever I want. I should be able to show off my figure in a way that I'm comfortable with. And so all those beautiful comments that you lovely, lovely ladies gave me, they finally sunk in. They finally got in, and I finally realized I don't need to do that anymore. I realized that that's what I was doing, and that I don't need to do that anymore. So I can't thank you enough, really, genuinely, sincerely. I'm not going to mention names. Maybe I should mention names, but I just don't want to, you know, breach anybody's privacy. Not everybody necessarily wants their name read out on my channel. But, you know, some really beautiful comments from some really beautiful ladies, and I can't tell you how much it means to me. I was saying to my husband, and he, you know, he sort of tried hard to understand why it meant so much to me, but it really meant a lot to me. So again, thank you so, so much. And further to that, I've had my first person purchase me a coffee, and it wasn't just a coffee, they purchased me several coffees. It was very generous, and I want to thank you so, so much. Again, I'm not going to mention your name. You may not want me to breach your privacy. So thank you, thank you. It means so much to me. It's not that it's money. It's not that someone gave me money. It's that someone valued what I'm doing. I mean, I'm just standing here in my home showing you my stuff, talking about my stuff. You know, I'm not anybody special or overly interesting, but well, maybe I am, I don't know, but you know, to have someone acknowledge me in that way again was just so, so touching, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, thank you. The next thing I just would like to touch on actually is still sewing related, so I'm not stretching the boundaries of Friday sews at all. This is sewing. I was so lucky to be able to get Kristen's Bespoke Box for January. The theme is the boho goddess. To be honest, I'm a little bit concerned about this box, because when I think of summertime boho, some of the imagery that Kristen's used. There seems to be a lot of yellows and oranges and golds and browns and things, and these just are not my colors. I'm very cool coloring, and so those are not my colors at all. So I guess that is just the risk you take with a bespoke box. You know, and by the time it gets to me here in New Zealand, the postage is $34 New Zealand, something like that. So by the time it gets to me, it's well over 100 New Zealand dollars. It's 130, 140 New Zealand dollars. So that is a lot of money to risk on a fabric that you may or may not like. So far, it's worked out fine, and I've really liked everything that Kristen has sent me. But I am a little bit not sure about this this month's theme, just in case the colors are not, you know, not my colors. But as I say, mostly there's been no issue at all. And in fact, the last fabric, the peacock fabric, I said to Kristen, my husband loves that fabric, and he asked if there was any left over, if I could make him a waistcoat. So what he meant was if there was any leftover fabric from after I had made my NYX blouse. But I was telling Kristen, and she said, oh, I'll have a look. And she said, I've got a meter left over. I'm more than happy to give you this meter of fabric. So I can't thank you enough, Kristen. I mean, that's also a huge buzz to me, that you would gift me a meter of that gorgeous fabric. So again, thank you so much for that. And we've got a wedding to go to in Melbourne in, I think it might be January or February next year, 2024. So the plan would be that I will do, I've got a year to do 12s on Chris's waistcoat, and so hopefully I'll be able to make that beautiful peacock fabric into a waistcoat for him. And I might need quite a few 12s. I haven't fitted, I mean, I made him a jacket before. I showed you my navy pin cord jacket that I made him a while ago, but this is a very fitted, obviously, and he does have a bit of a puku. So I just need to learn how to fit over that. And I might need a year to do that. Here is where we stray from sewing theme. I live in Auckland, New Zealand. It's the middle of summer. We've had well, they called it Cyclone Hail come through. It's a tropical storm. Caused a lot of havoc elsewhere. It hit parts of New Zealand, it hit the east coast of New Zealand, and we caught the tail end of it here in Auckland. So the weather was pretty atrocious, and we've got a lot of trees on our property. We have taken a lot down, and I know that might upset a lot of people, but the people who built this house 30 years ago didn't pay any mind to the size of trees they were planting and where they planted them. So we've had some ridiculously huge trees. How big might they be? I'm just looking out here and thinking that's 6 meters. They have to be 10-meter high trees in some really ridiculous places close to the house. And they hadn't been looked after in their lifetime. We've been here 8 years, and to be honest, we haven't looked after them and trimmed them and done the things that you need to do. So some of them are in a pretty bad state. We've had a few blow over in storms over the years, and one fell on our extension. So luckily it didn't make too much damage from what we can see. It has dented the iron roof, and smushed up some guttering, but I don't think it's made too much damage. But so we were out there yesterday, or my husband was up on the roof with a chainsaw on a pole and all sorts of equipment, and he's done an amazing job, and he's cleared it off the roof, and he's chopped down other parts of the tree that were threatening to fall on the garage. So yeah, we've got a bit of a clean up to do because we just sort of chopped it off and plopped it there. With Phil, my father-in-law, coming, we sort of had other things on our plates to be doing. So that's all there for us to sort out, you know, in a month when Phil has gone back to England. Feel like this video is on a bit of an angle. How long have I been talking to you when it's all been on a bit of an angle? I'm sorry. Sorry about that. What a rookie. Hopefully that's better. Last thing I wanted to talk to you about was the fact that we're going down to Christchurch again. We're going to show Phil around Christchurch, Phil being Chris's, my husband's father. Phil has done quite a bit of travelling around New Zealand before. Chris has been in New Zealand for 20 years, and so Phil's been over many times in that 20 years, and they have got about and seen a bit of the country. But I just want to show Phil a bit more about Christchurch, and so that we're going down for a few days, putting the dogs in the boarding kennels again, which I think they'll enjoy. I think they really loved it over Christmas time. And so again, that's another reason why I probably won't have, you know, much time for sewing over this next week at least anyway. And that is about all I have for you today. So it's just a short little video. As I say, not a lot of sewing, some chat about sewing. But anyway, the main thing was I really wanted to come on and just to say thank you to everybody while it was still fresh, while I was still, you know, feeling so, well, I guess emotional about it really. It was just lovely. I can't tell you how much it meant to me to have you beautiful ladies on my side and supporting me in my channel. It really means the world to me. I'm not a very gregarious person. I'm an introvert. I constantly surprise myself that I'm okay standing in front of a camera talking to you, talking about my stuff, showing you things. So that's a real surprise to me constantly. But you know, to know that you guys are with me and supporting me, I won't go on about it. I'm banging on about it. I won't go on. Thank you. And that's all for now anyway. So I will see you hopefully in a week. I don't know, it might be 2 weeks, but I'll see you again soon anyway. Thanks so much for being here. Bye bye.